What is the largest continent in the world? Asia. What is the smallest continent in the world? Australia. What is the largest ocean in the world? Pacific Ocean. What is the smallest ocean in the world? Arctic Ocean. What is the longest river in the world? Nile River. What is the shortest river in the world? Roe River, USA. What is the highest mountain in the world? Mount Everest. What is the smallest mountain in the world? Mount Whichproof, Australia. What is the largest country in the world? Russia. What is the smallest country in the world? Vatican City. What is the largest desert in the world? Sahara Desert. What is the coldest desert in the world? Antarctic Desert. What is the largest lake in the world? Caspian Sea. What is the deepest lake in the world? Lake Baikal. What is the longest mountain range in the world? Andes Mountains. What is the highest mountain range in the world? Himalayas. Which is the largest island in the world? Greenland. Which is the smallest island country in the world? Nauru. Which is the largest gulf in the world? Gulf of Mexico. Which is the largest bay in the world? Bay of Bengal. Which is the longest river in Asia? Yangtze River. Which is the longest river in Africa? Nile River. Which is the largest country in Africa? Algeria. Which is the smallest country in the Africa? Seychelles. Which is the largest country in South America? Brazil. Which is the smallest country in South America? Suriname. Which is the largest country in Europe? Russia. Which is the smallest country in Europe? Vatican City. Which is the largest country in Asia? China. Which is the smallest country in Asia? Maldives. Which is the largest oceanic island? Greenland. Which is the smallest oceanic island nation? Tuvalu. Which is the longest river in India? Ganga, Ganges. Which is the shortest river in India? Arwari River. Which is the largest plateau in the world? Tibetan Plateau. Which is the largest delta in the world? Ganges Brahmaputra Delta. Which is the largest sea in the world? Philippine Sea. Which is the smallest sea in the world? Baltic Sea. Which is the highest waterfall in the world? Angel Falls. Which is the widest waterfall in the world? Khon Phapeng Falls. Which is the largest island group in the world? Indonesia. Which is the smallest island group in the world? Maldives. Which is the longest wall in the world? Great Wall of China. Which is the largest artificial canal in the world? Panama Canal. Which is the largest volcano in the world? Mauna Loa, Hawaii. Which is the most active volcano in the world? Kilauea, Hawaii. Which is the largest city in the world by area? New York City, USA. Which is the largest city in the world by population? Tokyo, Japan. Which is the largest peninsula in the world? Arabian Peninsula. Which is the largest cape in the world? Cape Han. Thank you.